They thought he was just another wealthy bachelor online. The kind of man every girl dreams of. Handsome, generous, and always ready to spoil them with money and gifts. But behind that charming smile hid a darkness too terrifying to imagine. Every chat, every shopping spree, every drink was a carefully laid trap. And once you stepped into his house, you never stepped out again. He hunted in silence, but when one woman, Amelia, refused to be bought, his obsession with her unlocked a nightmare that would shake everything to its core. In the heart of Lagos, there lived a man everyone admired, Dr. Raymond Daniels. To the world, he was a philanthropist, the charming businessman who donated to churches, sponsored scholarships, and fed the poor every Christmas. People called him the cheerful giver. To the world, he was a saint. But behind his immaculate suit and polished smile, Raymond hid a darkness no one dared to imagine. Raymond had a secret appetite, an empire built not on oil or real estate, but on human flesh. His true wealth flowed from the blood of young women whose lives he carefully lured, caged, and sold to the highest bidder. He always found his prey online. Social media was his marketplace, where vulnerable young women scrolled, hoping for opportunities, romance, or quick money. Raymond knew what bait to use. For some, it was flashy gifts, jewelry, perfumes, and newest iPhones. For others, it was luxury shopping trips, shuffled rides, or promises of money that could change their lives. And when they accepted his offer, he played the perfect gentleman, inviting them over for dinner, charming them with his wealth, and offering them a drink. But every glass he served was already laced with a sedative. Minutes later, their bodies would collapse, limp and helpless. And that was when Raymond's marks dropped. He dragged them to the boys' quarters behind his mansion, where soundproof walls concealed the cries of the doomed. There, he butchered his victims with surgical precision, packaging every organ carefully to meet the orders of clients who paid handsomely for human flesh. It was business, cold, methodical, profitable, and for years it was perfect. Then came Amelia Roberts. They first met online. Amelia, a smart and spirited mass communication undergraduate, had caught his attention with her sharp wit and beauty. He started the way he always did, with texts that turned into late-night conversations. Soon, he began to send offers of money, designer bags, and promises of an easy, glamorous life if she'd only come to see him. But Amelia wasn't like the others. Raised in a strict Christian home, she had learned early that not everything glittering was gold. She refused his gifts, turned down his money, and firmly rejected every invitation to his house. To Raymond, it was unthinkable. Nobody ever said no to him. The timing couldn't have been worse. Raymond had a major delivery due, a client overseas waiting for fresh meat. But because Amelia refused him, his careful schedule collapsed. The victim he had banked on never arrived. His customers grew restless, furious that their expensive order had not been met. For the first time in years, Raymond's flawless system failed, and it was all because of Amelia. What became as irritation soon transformed into obsession. Amelia wasn't just another target anymore. She was a challenge, the one girl who had disrupted his empire. He promised himself she would be his, no matter how long it took, no matter what it cost. And so, he began a new game, one more dangerous, most desperate, and more personal than any before. Raymond Daniels was furious. The failed delivery because of Amelia had cost him millions. His clients didn't care about excuses. They wanted their orders on time. And when Raymond could not deliver, their anger burned hot. That night, he sat alone in his study, swilling a glass of brandy. His jaw clenched, One mistake had shaken the empire he built with blood, and one name echoed in his mind like a curse. Amelia. He whispered to himself, "Never again. I will never lose money because of a woman again." From that moment, he changed his system. Raymond began luring not just one girl at a time, but many. Online chats, promises of jobs abroad, luxury gifts, shopping trips. His method had not failed him before, and now he used them with ruthless precision. Every girl who fell for the bait was led to his mansion, served a drink laced with sedatives, and carried unconscious into the boys' quarters. There, they were locked away like animals. Some cried, some begged, some prayed. Raymond never listened. They weren't people to him anymore. They were stuck. Whenever a new order came from his clients, Raymond would walk into the dark quarters, pick 2 or 3, depending on the demand, and end their lives. He carved their bodies with the precision of a surgeon, packaged the organs neatly into nylon bags, and shipped them out to waiting buyers. To the world, he was still the cheerful giver, but in his home, he was a butcher. One weekend, Raymond returned to his hometown, a small community where people worshipped him as a benefactor. He handed out bundles of cash, paid school fees, and smiled like a savior. That was when a pregnant woman named Azuka approached him. Her face was tired, her dress worn. She carried the weight of her unborn child and the sorrows of 2 other children left at home. "Dr. Daniels," she pleaded, tears shining in her eyes. "My husband abandoned me. I have nothing. Please, help me and my 2 children." Raymond placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, her voice soft and dripping with false kindness. "Azuka, you will not suffer anymore. Come with me to the city. I'll give you money, find you a good work, and your children will never lack again." Her eyes lit up with hope. She thanked him again and again, blessing his name as she agreed to follow him. But when they arrived in Lagos, everything changed. Instead of taking her to a job or giving her money, Raymond dragged Azuka into the boys' quarters and tied her hands. Her shock turned to terror. "Please, let me out. My children are waiting for me. I'm pregnant. I beg you," she screamed, tears running down her cheeks. But Raymond only smiled coldly, shut the door and walked away. For days, Azuka cried. She screamed until her voice broke, called out for help, prayed for a miracle, but no one ever came. The other captive watched with hollow eyes. To them, she was just another lamb trapped in the slaughterhouse. And while Azuka wept in chains, Raymond was already planning his next move, how to get Amelia into his house. Because in his mind, Amelia wasn't just a girl anymore. She was a debt, and debts had to be paid. Azuka screamed, pierced the boys' quarters like a knife. Day and night, her voice rose above the others, pleading, praying, cursing. The other captives trembled in silence, too broken to cry anymore. But for Raymond Daniels, her voice was becoming unbearable. He hated drama. He hated being reminded of their humanity. One night, he walked into the room, his footsteps echoing like a death march. The women froze. Azuka lifted her swollen face, her eyes wet with tears. "Raymond," she sobbed, "God will punish you. The blood of these women will rise against you. You will suffer for your sins, and you will never escape." Raymond's face hardened, but her words only fueled his cruelty. With no hesitation, he silenced her forever. Her final curse hung in the air like smoke. The other captives turned pale with fear. They understood now. None of them would live alive. Their fates were sealed. Raymond went about his work with precision. Azuka's body was carved, her parts packaged into neat nylon bags, ready for his waiting clients. Another order fulfilled, another soul erased. That night, while washing his hands, Raymond muttered to himself, his voice slow and dark, "Amelia Roberts, you ruined one order for me, but you will be my finest delivery. I will make you love me. I will make you trust me. And when you finally fall, I will watch you beg for your life before I cut you, piece by piece." He threw back his head and laughed, the sound echoing in the empty mansion. Without wasting time, he picked up his phone and dialed Amelia. His voice softened, cloaked in sweetness. "Amelia," he said warmly, "I've been thinking about you. I can't hide it anymore. I love you. Please give me a chance. Let me prove it." At first, Amelia resisted. She was cautious, careful, but after much persuasion, she finally agreed on one condition. "If you really want to see me," she told him firmly, "come to my school, not your house, not anywhere private, my school." Raymond smiled. She was sharp, but he was patient. "Of course," he said quickly, "anywhere you want. I just want to know you better." The next day, Raymond drove to her campus. He dressed immaculately in a tailored suit, stepping out of his black SUV with the confidence of a king. They agreed to meet at a restaurant just outside the university gates. Raymond arrived first. He sat at a corner table sipping his drink, rehearsing his marks of charm. When Amelia finally walked in, his chest tightened, not with love, but with hunger. She greeted him politely, and for a moment, his dark thoughts almost betrayed him. He forced a smile, complimenting her beauty. "You look stunning, Amelia," he said smoothly. She blushed slightly, but kept her guard. She took her seat, and at his insistence, placed an order. They ate, they talked, and Raymond played the role of a perfect gentleman, listening, laughing, nodding in all the right places. But behind the smile, his mind whispered, "Eat, Amelia. Enjoy this meal. Soon, you'll be nothing more than meat for my clients." He smiled to himself, sipping his drink. Then, as though struck by an idea, he leaned closer. "Amelia," he said, "if I'm truly serious about you, shouldn't I know your friends, the people closest to you? Call them. Let's all meet. I want to show you I'm genuine." Amelia was surprised. Few men ever asked to meet a girl's friend so soon. Still, his words sounded reasonable. She pulled out her phone and called her roommates, Ada and Susan. Within the hour, they arrived at the restaurant, giggling with excitement. The moment they saw Raymond, his fine clothes, his aura of wealth, they were dazzled. He welcomed them warmly, insisting they order anything they wanted. They didn't hold back. Soon, the table was filled with plates, laughter and chatter. Raymond sat back, watching them like a hunter surrounded by birds. When the meal was done, he pulled out bundles of cash and handed them to Ada and Susan. Their faces lit up with delight as they accepted without hesitation. "Talk to your friend," he told them with a gentle smile. "Convince her to give me a chance. I promise you, I'm serious about her." The girls nodded eagerly, already won over. Finally, he slid an envelope of money toward Amelia, but she shook her head firmly. "No, thank you," she said. "I don't need your money." Raymond's smile didn't falter, but inside, his obsession deepened. His resistance was full, and he swore to himself again, "Amelia will be mine." Back at the hostel that night, Amelia's friend could barely contain their excitement. "Girl, you're darling, oh," Ada teased, tossing her handbag on the bed. "That man is fine, rich and generous. How many girls get such an opportunity? You better shine your eyes, oh." Susan nodded in agreement, her face lit with a mischievous smile. "Babes, don't waste time. Raymond is different. He's kind, handsome, and he's clearly serious about you. Look at the way he treated us now. Do you know how many girls are praying for this kind of man? Stop for me, my dear." Amelia only sighed, shaking her head. Her heart was heavy. "I'm not impressed by money, Ada. Not every man who flashes cash means well. I want something real, not gifts and fake promises." Her friends exchanged glances. They couldn't understand her stubbornness. Meanwhile, Raymond was relentless. Day after day, His calls flooded her phone. He sent flowers, hampers, expensive perfumes, and even bundles of money tucked into envelopes. Each time, Amelia refused. But with each refusal, her friends pressed harder. "Babes, stop being difficult," Susan whispered one night. "This guy truly loves you. At least give him a chance." Their words echoed in her mind, and coupled with Raymond's sweet voice and constant affection, her resolve slowly began to waver. Finally, after much persuasion, Amelia agreed to meet him at his house. Raymond could hardly believe his luck. At last, his patience was about to pay off. They fixed a date. Amelia dressed simply but elegantly, her innocence glowing in her appearance. She made her way to the bus station, her bag slung across her shoulder. Raymond had insisted she shouldn't worry about finding his house. He would pick her up personally. When she arrived, she pulled out her phone and dialed his number. But just as he picked up, her phone burst with another call. It was Susan. Her friend's voice was urgent, almost panicked. "Amelia, where are you? There's a surprise quiz in 30 minutes. The lecturer is already in class. If you miss this, you'll fail the course." Amelia froze. The timing couldn't have been worse. She looked at the buses lined up, then back at her phone. Duty called. Without hesitation, she boarded the next bus back to campus. Raymond, speeding towards the bus station in his SUV, was already smiling at the thought of Amelia trapped in his mansion. His phone rang again. "Where are you, my love? I'm close." Her reply shattered his mood. "Raymond, I'm so sorry. I just got an urgent call. There is a surprise quiz. I need to go back now. Please don't bother coming." For a moment, Raymond's face darkened with rage. He gripped the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. This girl, always spoiling my plans. But his voice was calm when he answered. "It's okay, my dear. Go and write your quiz. We'll see another time." He ended the call with a fake smile, but inside, his blood boiled. In his mind, he had already pictured Amelia begging for her life, chained in his boys' quarters. Now, for the second time, fate had mocked him. "Fine," he muttered to himself. "You escaped again, but the day I catch you, I will make sure your death is slow, excruciating." After her quiz, Amelia called him back, her voice soft. "Raymond, I'm sorry for today. Can we meet tomorrow instead?" Raymond's anger melted into obsession. "Of course, my love. Tomorrow, you'll be mine at last." The next morning, Amelia set out once again. She boarded a bus and arrived at the station. This time, Raymond arrived on time, his black SUV gleaming under the sun. He stepped out, all charm and smiles, and opened the door for her. As they drove, Raymond watched her from the corner of his eye. Every smile she gave, every word she spoke, only fueled his hunger. Soon, they pulled into his mansion, a sprawling estate that stood like a fortress. Amelia gasped softly. "Your house? It's beautiful." Raymond smirked. "Thank you, my dear. It's all yours to enjoy." But just as he was about to put his plan in motion, his phone rang. A client was on the line, an urgent delivery order from another state. The money was too good to ignore. His jaw tightened in frustration, but business always came first. He forced a smile. "Amelia, I had to step out for something urgent. Don't worry. Make yourself comfortable. The house is yours until I return tomorrow morning." Amelia nodded politely, though a flicker of unease crossed her face. Raymond grabbed his keys and stormed out. As he drove away, he muttered under his breath, "Don't worry, Amelia. Tomorrow, your nightmare begins." Amelia burst through Raymond's mansion, her heart beating against her chest like a drum. The house was too quiet, the silence too heavy. She tried to distract herself by admiring the furniture, the chandeliers, the expensive arts. But then a sound, a faint sound, muffled, almost like a whimper, carried by the night air. She froze. Her heartbeat quickened. The sound came again, this time clearer, soft cries, desperate, almost pleading. They drifted from the direction of the boys' quarters, behind the main house. Amelia swallowed hard. Fear gripped her, urging her to turn away. but curiosity and something deeper, an inner strength, pushed her forward. Step by step, she walked across the compound, the cries growing louder, blending with the sickening smell that made her gag. The closer she got, the stronger the stench became. A foul mix of blood and rot. Her stomach churned. She reached the door. It was locked, but the cries were unmistakably now. Someone was inside. Her hand shook as she looked around for something sharp. She found an old metal rod lying by the wall and jammed it into the lock. After a few desperate tries, the latch gave way with a loud click. The door creaked open, and there she saw it. Her eyes widened, her breath caught in her throat. Inside the dimly lit room lay a nightmare, severed body parts wrapped in nylon, blood-stained tools, and a stench of death that made her stomach twist. Tied to the corners were women, some weak, some barely conscious. Among them, a heavily bruised woman lifted her head and screamed with the last of her strength. "Help us, please!" Amelia staggered back, almost fainting, her hand covering her mouth, but something stronger than fear rose within her: compassion. She hurried to the women, untying them one after another. Their voices poured out in sobs and desperate thanks, each recounting the cruelty of Raymond. Her fingers trembled as she dialed the police. Her voice cracked as she gave them the address. Within minutes, sirens wailed in the distance. A convoy of police vehicles stormed into the compound. Officers rushed in, lifting the freed women into a bus, covering them with blankets. The women clung to Amelia, tears streaming down their faces. Thank you for saving us," one whispered. A senior officer turned to Amelia. "You have done more than enough tonight, but we need your help for one last thing. If he returns, we need him to confess in your presence. With your cooperation, we can lock him away forever. Can you do it?" Amelia hesitated. Fear surged through her, but then she nodded. "I'll do it. He must pay for what he's done." The house fell into silence again. The next morning, the police hid in the shadows waiting. Amelia sat on the couch, her palms damp, her pulse racing. At last, the sound of a car pulling into the driveway shattered the stillness. Raymond had returned. He swaggered in, his lips curved into a wicked smile. "Amelia, my queen, did you miss me?" She forced a smile, though bile rose in her throat. "You came back sooner than I thought." He dropped his keys on the table, poured himself a drink and leaned close. His eyes glittered with dark hunger. "You don't know how long I've waited for this. Finally, you are in my house. Finally, I'll have you like the others." Amelia's heart skipped. She steadied her voice. "The others?" He chuckled, his laugh cold and hollow. "Oh, don't play innocent. Yes, the others. Do you think you're special? I have made fortunes from women like you. Their flesh, their blood, it all pays my bills. You've been spoiling my plans, but tonight, you begged for mercy before I end you." He leaned back, sipping his drink smugly. And then, freeze! "End of the road, Raymond," a voice barked. Police officers stormed into the room, guns raised. Raymond spun, shocked, his face twisted into rage. He lunged towards Amelia, gripping her wrist like a vice. "You betrayed me," he roared. "If I go down, I'll take you with me." But the officers were quicker. In seconds, Raymond was pinned to the ground, handcuffed. He spat, cursing Amelia. His eyes burned with hatred. "I should have cut you into pieces. You'll regret this. I'll make your death painful, even in hell." Amelia, her chest heaving, finally let the tears fall. "You are a terrible man, and finally, justice will be served," she spat. The trial shook the entire nation. The media called him the organ hunter. Survivors testified. Evidence from his boys' quarters was presented in chilling detail, and in the middle of it all, Amelia stood tall, her courage unbroken. Raymond, defiant to the end, tried to boast in court about his wealth, his client, his power, but every word only sealed his fate. The judge's gavel fell. "Raymond Daniels, You are hereby sentenced to death for murder, human trafficking, and crimes against humanity. A gasp echoed through the courtroom. Amelia closed her eyes, whispering a silent prayer of thanks. Justice had prevailed. Raymond's mansion was torn down. His empire crumbled, and his name became a curse. The women he had enslaved were rehabilitated, their voices raised as testimonies of survival. As for Amelia, she returned to her quiet life, her faith stronger than ever. She knew evil could wear a handsome face, speak sweet words, and dress itself in wealth, but beneath, it remained evil. The lesson was clear. Not all that glitters is gold. Beware of strangers bearing gifts, for some gifts are poisoned. Trust your values, your upbringing, and your instincts. Evil thrives in secrecy, but it crumbles in the light of truth and courage. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means the whole world to me. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and of course subscribe so you don't miss the next chilling part of the story. Every click, every comment, every share keeps this channel alive, and I'm truly grateful for you. Bye!